Hello and welcome to the 8th tutorial in this series, and today we're going to finalize the materials for the construction, and we're going to add a deck floor here and grass on the sides of the building and place a camera in the scene. So let's finalize the materials of the building first. First thing, we have two objects here, this one and this one, that don't have the wall material. So I'm going to fix it. I'm going to select 1, 2, give it the same material we created in the previous tutorial, the wall one. Now if I render here, you can see that we have a bump map on the walls. But if I render this one, which I just gave a material to, well, actually it has a bump map also, but you can't see the bump map on it. If I go to the bump map, hit on it and click on show shaded material in viewport. So now I can see the bump map. It is aligned correctly because I'm using the UVW map modifier on it. So it aligns the map of the bump map correctly on an object. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this UVW map over to here. So right click on the top modifier in the stack and paste. Also paste it here, right click paste, and now we have the alignment of the UVW map of the texture on the object correctly. Alright, let's go to the beige color, back to the beige color in the viewport. So I'm going to go back to the walls and show shaded material in viewport. Alright, so next thing I want to do is give a material to the inside of the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose our base material that we used while building the model, and I'm going to select all the objects that still have this material on them, which means that they don't have any other material that we gave here. So I'm going to right click on the base material, select by material, and now it will automatically select all the objects that have this material in them. Select and right click, hide unselected. So I want to hide everything that is not selected. Now it also selected the windows. That's because they have a ledge here, and the ledge is the base material. Alright, so it's grouped with the window, so it selects everything in the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disregard this for now. I'm going to select this interior walls here of the second floor, and I want to select the floor polygon here. So F3 to see it on this side and the other side. To select everything, I'm going to go to the front viewport, and let's just click here to zoom extended, so it will zoom on what I selected. Now F3 to see wireframe, and I want to select everything down here and Alt deselect everything up here. So now I essentially selected all the floors of this floor. So what I'm going to do now is detach it. So I'm going to detach in the editable poly. Let's call it level 2 floor. Alright, next thing I'm going to detach the floor in this level. So I'm going to this editable poly, the interior level 1. Select polygons, go to the front viewport, select the polygons down here. Hold Alt and deselect these polygons here. And now we have the floor of this level selected. I'm going to go to detach, and let's call it level 1 floor. Alright, so we have level 1 floor and level 2 floor. Now I want to select the floor down here of the basement. So I'm going to select the basement level. I'm going to go to polygons, select everything down here, Alt deselect everything here, and I hit F3 to go to wireframe, and I hit detach. Let's call it basement floor. Alright, so I detached all the floors from our building. Now I want to give a material to the walls and the ceilings. This is going to be just a white regular material. So I'm going to go to a new slot here. I'm going to call this interior walls, and I'm going to change it from standard to V-Ray material. So the V-Ray material is in materials, V-Ray, V-Ray material. Alright, now the color, the diffuse color is gray. I want to make it white, so I'm going to make it white, not 100% white, just a little bit less, something like 245. So 255 is pure white, 245 is a little bit less white because it could burn out if I put it on 100%. So that's fine, just hit OK. And I don't need to add details to it like bump because it's going to be on the inside and we're going to barely be able to see it because there will be doors and windows on the outside. So just select the walls from the second floor, walls from the first floor, and the walls from the basement, the walls and the ceiling, and apply the interior wall material to it. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is right click and hide selection. So I want to hide these floors. I want to now I want to give a material to the floors. So we have a roof floor here, we have the level floor, this level floor and this level floor. First of all, I want to give a roof material. The roof is going to be almost like the interior walls. Let's copy it here and call it roof floor. And let's change the color. I don't want it to be white because it has like a grayish tone to it, the roof floor. It's going to be with materials that are gray. So I'm going to give it a gray color, something in the middle here, and just assign the roof material to this. Now hide selection, and we are left with the floors here and the windows, and that's because the windows do have materials but the ledges don't, so I need to apply material to the ledge. So first of all, I want to give a material to the floors. Oh, we have this this is the floor from the balcony. Now the top part is going to be also a floor material, but the bottom part here is going to be a white material. So what I want to do is I want to add an editable poly modifier to it. Select this polygon up here that is going to be the floor and detach it. Let's call it, now it was detached. Let's select this polygon I detached and call it balcony floor. Good. Now this square here is going to be the bottom part of our balcony. So I'm going to give it a white material like the interior walls, like so, and hide it. So now we are left only with the floors and the stairs and the ledges. So let's get started with the floors. I want to give them a concrete floor tiles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new material. Let's call it interior floors. And I'm going to change it from standard to V-Ray material, very important, not to forget this step. And I'm going to give them, let's go to maps. In diffuse slot, I want to give them a map. Let's go to maps here and give it a map called, where is it? 1 second. Tiles. So I want to create a tile map. So if I double click on it, you can see that it creates tiles. I can convert this square, this round form to a square by clicking here and making it a square because it's easier to see it in tile mode. So now we have tiles. We have a tile and we have a separation between tiles. Now let's go back here. As you can see, the diffuse color is tiles. I want to go inside tiles, go to advanced controls, and let's see. The texture of the tile itself is this color. The texture of the grout, which are these lines, is this color. So now I want to give this tile a color that is much brighter than this one. So it's going to be like almost white, 240 tiles. And the separation between tiles is going to be also brighter, so something like this. I'm going to make it much thinner. So let's go down here. In the grout setup, I'm going to make the horizontal gap and vertical gap smaller. So 0.1, like this. Good. Now I'm going to go back up here. Let's give it a background. So background. So I can see the reflections on the tiles. I want to give the tiles a little bit of reflection because it's a reflective floor. I won't give it a texture because it's inside of the house and I'm not going to see it, the texture, even if I put it on. So I just need to give it a little bit of a reflection. So let's give it a reflection of something like 100. That's not a little bit, but 100. Let's make it round again so we can see the reflection better. So now, as you can see, there's a reflection on the sides and less in the center. That's because Fresnel reflection is on. As I explained in a previous tutorial about the railing, when the Fresnel reflection is on, the sides of an object that are facing to the side of us are the reflection is much stronger than in the center that facing towards us. So if I look at an object in an angle, it will reflect more than if I look at straight at it. It works like glass. If you think about it in real life, when you look straight on glass, you won't see as strong as a reflection as if you look at a glass in 90 degrees. So this simulates this Fresnel reflection effect. So more reflective on the sides, less reflective in the front. So this is good for us. We need to make it just a little bit more reflective, like 150. Let's see. So on the sides it's reflecting. Now I want to give it a little bit of a glossiness here, so it won't reflect like a mirror 100%, but 0.9. As you can see, it reflects blurriness, just a little bit blurred out. 0.9 is too strong. Maybe 1 is sharp like a mirror, and 0 is very, very blurred out. So I'm going to go with 0.95 here. That's fine. I'm going to give it a bigger subdivision of 32 because I want the blurriness to be sharp and not dotted. So it will slow down rendering a little bit, but the effect will be without dots and spots on it. So now I want to give this material, this floor material, first, before I do that, I want to give a bump to it. So the lines that separate between tiles will be a little bit inwards. So I'm going to add a bump here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down to the bump slot. I'm going to copy it, not instance, because I want to change things here that won't change in this material. And I explained about instances in the previous tutorial, so I'm going to copy it. Now, as you can see, you have like a bump of the separation here in the center. What I want to do here is, first of all, I want to give it a black color, pure black, and this one I want to give a pure white color. Why did I do that? Now the tile itself is pure white in the bump slot. It's pure white and the separation is pure black. And what the bump slot does is takes an image, takes all the blacks from the image and take them down, and all the whites take them up. So now it becomes more permanent, the bumpiness in the floor. It's too strong. I'm going to give it a value of something like 12. Okay, so this is fine. I'm going to assign this material to this floor for a second. Just drag it on the floor. You can't see the lines here, and that's because I didn't give it a UVW map modifier, so it doesn't know how to align this map on this floor. So I'm going to add a modifier here, UVW map, like so. I'm going to go to the top. Now I want to see the separation, so I'm going inside the tiles and I click here, show shaded material in viewport. So now I can see the tile material. As you can see, the tiles are way too big. I want to create a tile of something like 100 over 100, so I'm going to use a box, create a box 100 over 100 and place it here. Let's go to the front viewport and take it up so I can see it in the viewport, and let's place it here. Now I'm going to select the floor again, and it's on planar now, which means it will only to do a 2D representation of the map, so it's flat like the floor, which is good for us. If we want to texture a box like this, if I use planar, it will texture the top part but won't texture the sides, and that's because planar uses 2D plane to align the texture on it. So if I give this material to this box like so, and I add, let's copy this UV material, copy and paste it here, what happens is you can see that the line on the top is fine, but on the side you don't have lines because it aligns it in a flat surface. For things like boxes, you need to use box here. So use box and give it a value of some other value. The values are too small, but now you can see that on the sides it's aligned also. If I go back to planar, you don't have a texture on the sides. So let's delete this UV map. I'm going to go back to the floor, go back to top, and let's make it much smaller. It needs to be like this square. So I'm going to take this down to 250 and 250. Now the alignment is too small, so let's make it a little bit bigger. 350 over 350. A little bit more, 400, 400. That's fine. So now it's 100 centimeters over 100 centimeters tile, which is great. Let's delete this helper box using the delete key. Now I want to see if the thickness of the separation is good. So I'm going to go in and hit F9 to render. You can see the thickness here. So what I want to do is place a helper box. Let's go to F3 for shaded for wireframe, and I want to create a box that will represent half a centimeter, because separation is supposed to be something like half a centimeter. So 0.5, 0.5. I'm going to go to the front viewport, take it up so I can see it in the top viewport. Hit F3 again to see the line in the center. Now let's try rendering it. As you can see, this is shorter than this, so this is too long. I'm going to go back to my material, into tiles, make this not 0.1 the separation, but 0.08. Once I change this, this changed automatically. So this is vertically and horizontally. You have horizontal and vertical, and it is locked to be the same. In most situation it's supposed to be locked to be the same, because you don't need a different width of separation to the horizontal and vertical. So 0.08, and then I'm going to go to the bump, and same thing here, horizontal gap 0.08. And let's try rendering now. This is smaller. Let's move the box just a little bit to the left so we can see it better. F9. Just a little bit more. Okay, so it's too thick still, so I'm going to go back to tiles, make it 0.06, and same thing in the bump, 0.06, and let's try rendering it. Something strange happened here. Let's go to tiles. Oh, I by mistake did 0.6. It needs to be 0.06. Okay, so like this. Let's render it. Okay, separation is about right. So it's about half a centimeter. Let's delete this box. Let's go to the perspective viewport. If I render now, you can see that there are like tiles on the floor and a little bit of reflection here, which is good for us. Now you don't need to really go into the material inside of the house, because it's inside and you will barely see it. So okay, I'm going to choose this floor, copy the UVW map, and go to this floor, assign this material, and also this floor, assign this material, and let's paste the UVW map here. Paste the UVW map here. Now the tiles are aligned on all the floors. So let's take this floor and control select this one and this one. Right click, hide selection. And last thing I want to do is same thing for the balcony floor. Paste the UVW map and assign this material. That's great. Hide selection. Fine. And you know what? Let's bring everything back. Unhide all. Let's hide the plan for a second. Okay, so now we have a continuation of the floor of the balcony here. And that's because we had like a ceiling from the previous floor. So what I want to do is select this, hide unselected, and go to the UVW, to editable poly, I'm sorry. Select 1, control 2, 3, 4, 5. Detach. Let's call it balcony floor 2. And let's unhide everything. I'm going to select this balcony floor 2, give it this material, the same one, and paste the UVW map here. So now we have 1 and control select 2. As you can see, we have 2 floors, but they are not correctly aligned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this floor, this balcony floor. I'm going to go back to editable poly, attach this, right click to finish the attachment, and go to UVW map. So now it is aligned across the board. Unisolate everything. Okay, now we have floors, and essentially we have every material we wanted except for one. So let's see what is not textured yet. I'm going to go to this base material that we gave in the construction phase. Right click, select by material, and select. Isolate selection. Let's see what is not with materials yet. So we have like we have the windows that I'm going to give the bottom parts of the window material soon. The ledges. Now what I want to give a material is these boxes here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These boxes, if I unisolate everything, are these ones here. They are inside the ground and they are the same texture as the building. So I selected the 4 of them. Walls, assign material to selected, and again I'm going to add, but I need to copy the UVW map from the wall again, because the UVW map I'm using now is from the floor, so it's not the same UVW map. F4 to see a wireframe. I'm going to select the wall, copy this UVW map from the wall, paste it here, and down here, and down here. Alright, so I'm right clicking, paste. Right. Now let's see that the noise is aligned correctly in the bump map. And it is. So that's great. Let's see about the stairs. For now, I'm not gonna give the stairs other textures because I'm going to see the house from this direction. So I can actually see the stairs, not the stairs in the front and not the stairs down here. Let's go back to the wall beige color for a second. Let's go up here and show shaded material. Alright, so I'm not gonna touch the stairs for now. What I do want to change is these windows bottom part, so the ledges. So I'm going to select all the windows. I'm going to go to select by name. Let's start hitting window, that's fine, and OK. Isolate selection, and I'm left with all the windows. Now I'm going to go to group, open, and I want to leave only the ledges. So I'm going to go to select by name. Let's write ledge, like so. Okay, so now it selected all the ledges and left all the windows not selected. And I'm going to go to unisolate everything and hit it again to isolate only the ledges. Alright, so I'm left with the ledges. Let's give them a material. I want to give them a material like the floor inside of the house, but without the separations. So I'm going to copy this interior floor material here, drag, and I'm going to call it ledges. They're going to be white, I'm going to right click on the diffuse, clear, because I don't want the separations, and on the bump also clear. So now we have just a reflective gray material. So I want to change the gray color to almost white, something like 240. It's fine. That's going to be our ledge material, the white one. I'm going to select all the ledges and assign this material to them. Alright, so now the ledges have a material also. I'm going to select everything, group, close. So I'm going to close the Windows groups. Okay, let's see what is not textured yet. I'm going to go to my base material, right click on it, select by material and select. And now isolate selection. So only the stairs are not textured yet. I'm not going to touch the texture of the stairs. As I said, you can't see them from this direction. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a floor here, because when I get out of the building, of the house, as you can see here, there is like a parquet floor or a wood logs in the entrance. So I'm going to create those. I'm going to select the plan only and hit here isolate selected toggle, so it isolated only the plan. And now you can see, well actually you can't see in the plan the floor here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to look here and see how far this floor goes from the entrance. So this is a section of the house. You can also look here. As you can see, this is the exit. This is our balcony. This is the exit to the garden. So we have the exit here. The doors are here, as you can see in the section. This is the basement level. This is the door. And after the door, you have a floor here that goes, let's see, let's create a box. From here to the end, it goes 350 centimeters outwards. So let's delete this box, go to the perspective viewport, 350, and hit this key to unisolate everything. And let's create a 350 centimeters floor here. So I'm going to select only this floor, hit isolate, and let's create a box. You know what, a plane of 350. I'm going to snap toggle on and just create a box here from here to here and make the width 350 like so. Just take it out on the x-axis, I'm sorry, this direction, and from this point just put it aligned with the walls here. I'm going to take this floor down on the z-axis to the beginning, to the opening. I'm going to make the width segments 1 and the length segments 1. And now let's unisolate everything. So now we have this plane which will represent the floor when you exit from the house, from both of these exits. So I know from the architect that this floor needs to be piles of wood. Alright, so this floor is going to be piles of wood. So what I want to do is I want to get a material to assign to it. But first I want to create the wood piles here. So I'm going to take this plane, I'm going to rename it to floor in garden. And let's isolate it, only this one. I'm going to go to the top viewport and assign width segments to it, like so. Now let's see, each plank of wood needs to be something like, I don't know, maybe 15 centimeters, let's say 15. So you need to ask the architect about this, these measurements, but I'm going to guess 15. So I'm going to create a box of 15, like so. Place on the y and x axis this point here while the snap toggle is on, and now I'm going to add more width segments until a width segment will intersect with this line here. So make more width segments like so. Maybe another one. No, that was fine. Okay, so this is about 15, which is fine for me. I'm going to delete the helper. Now I'm going to convert this, right click, convert to editable poly. And I'm going to select all these edges in the center here. So all the edges in the center. I'm going to chamfer them by 1 centimeter, maybe 0.5 centimeter, like so, 0.4 even. So we have 0.4 centimeters between planks, but this is 0.8 because it moves 0.4 to this side and 0.4 to this side. So if I want 0.4, I need to hit 0.2 here. So now this is 0.4 centimeters, the separation. I want to delete these lines in the middle, so I'm going to select all the polygons here and hold Alt and deselect these polygons. So I'm left only with the polygons, sorry, Control Z back, only with the polygons here. And hit delete. Okay, so now we have a separation of polygons. Next thing I want to do is give it a thickness. So let's give it a thickness of something like 10 centimeters. So I'm going to apply a shell modifier to it. It goes 103 centimeters up, but I need something like 5 centimeters down, maybe 10 centimeters down, like so. Right click, convert to editable poly, and now I'm going to add chamfer to it to make it like planks of wood. So I'm going to select all the edges in the form and I'm going to hit chamfer in the settings, chamfer settings. Now it chamfered it by 1 centimeter. It's too much, I think. Maybe 0.5 is good. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so now we have planks of wood. Let's unhide everything. You have planks of wood in the exit here to the garden. Now what I want to do is add materials to these planks of wood. So I'm going to add materials to it, a wooden material. But first I need to find a texture for it. So let's go to a site that I often use called CG Textures. It's a free site. You can be a member, and then if you have a membership you can get more high resolution textures, but you can also get a lot of high resolution textures without being a member or paying money to the site. So it's a great free site for textures. Now I'm going to find wooden texture here, so I'm going to go to wood. I'm going to go to planks. No, but we don't need planks because we created these lines using the polygons. So I'm going to go back, find wood, and let's select the wood that I want to use for my planks. So let's go with something like let's go back. I think that that's a hard one. Okay, let's just choose this one for now. I want to download the large sized texture. This is a 2276 over 2003 resolution, which is very high. It's more than HD. So I'm going to download this texture. Let's go back. Now I downloaded this texture. I'm going to add it in the file that you can download from the description below. Now I want to use this texture to create a material. So now I'm going to go to materials. I'm going to create a new material. So deck wood. Let's change from standard to V-Ray material, and I'm going to assign a texture here in the diffuse slot. So in order to assign a texture, I hit on this square here and choose in Maps Standard Bitmap. And now I'm going to find the texture that I downloaded. The texture will be in the description. So my texture is in Downloads, this one. And now, as you can see, we have a texture assigned to the material. So let's assign this material to this object. Just drag and drop here. Now you can't see the material, and that's because I haven't clicked here. So I'm going to go to Material and hit Show Shaded Material in Viewport, like so. Now let's isolate it. As you can see, it's not aligned correctly on the planks. So what I'm going to do is use my UVW map modifier again, and I'm going to give it, first of all I need to rotate it, so I'm going to hit on it until it's blue. Now I can rotate the gizmo or the texture without rotating the object. Now I want to align it, so I'm going to hit Fit, and the texture is aligned to the object, but it's too high and stretched, so I'm going to give it a little bit less stretched, like so, maybe 400 over 200 here. That seems good. Maybe 150, 175 over 400. I'm going to hit it again so I can deselect the object. Let's go to Perspective Viewport and see what we have here. Okay, so it's aligned pretty good on our planks. I'm going to unisolate everything else, and I want to give it a bump just a little bit to the material. So I'm going to go to Materials, Maps, Bump, and you know what? I'm not going to hit None. I'm just going to drag this to Bump, copy, and now as you can see you have a little bit of bump of the wood, maybe just less, like 20 here. It's fine. I want to give it a little bit of shininess or reflectivity, just a little bit, something like 50. Let's give it a background so we can see the reflectivity. You can see it reflects here. Now I want to make it a very blurred out reflection, so I'm going to reflection glossiness make something like 0.65. So now as you can see it's very blurred out, like a wooden reflection. I'm going to make the subdivision higher, 32, so it won't be spotted or dotted. It will render better if I just up the subdivision value. Alright, for now it's fine. I'm going to align all these materials when I start rendering it. And if I start rendering and I see that something is not aligned correctly, I will just fix it. So now we have this part of the exterior, this floor in garden. Alright, so this tutorial is getting long, so in the next one I'm going to add grass material to the scene and then starting aligning the V-Ray properties here. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial.